Recording.
This is exciting for everyone involved.
Amen. Okay, here we
Oh,
go.
Andrew, check it out. I got my Tighten the Lug Nuts book in the background, too. Look at that.
Very
I'm
good
on-
job.
Awesome. Yeah, all right, here we go, fellas.
Guess how much Alexis Lafreniere's entry-level contract is for?
Services LLC, and author of the book Tighten the Lug Nuts. With over 40 years of boots-on-the-ground leadership experience, Rocky creates excitement through his energy, passion, and knowledge in every podcast. During his 36 years at UPS, he led one of the largest rebranding initiatives in franchising history, the UPS Store, revolutionizing the $9 billion retail shipping and business services market. He also led the integration of more than 20 acquisitions that became UPS Supply Chain Solutions and let its improve financial performance, capabilities, and global footprint. Post-UPS, he served as CEO and Director for Unitech Global Services, a telecommunications company, and serves as an independent board member and advisor. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the discussion.
Do this look like work to you? Nah. Looking at the lights like it's all of this for me. Everyone tonight is here. All of this for me. Hands in the air, yeah. All of this for me. Bottles over here. All of this for me. Bottles bringing bottles, yeah. All of this for me. You for real?
What up? What up? Yes, indeed. This is another edition of The Rome Show here on a Monday evening, October 12th. HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2, Facebook.com/The Rome Show 1. I am your host, Andrew Romanello, and I am joined virtually alongside my partner, Rocky Romanello. Rock, how you doing on this rainy Monday?
I'm doing great. Coming to you live from the man cave where the magic happens.
I gotta say, the vibes from the virtual studios today are really getting me excited for the Rome Show.
I'm feeling good, and I think our split screen on Facebook is fire.
It looks pretty fire. So listen, we are just exploring all types of possibilities for the Rome Show. The one thing I do know is you can join in on the action, 609-807-2492, or comment in the comment section of the Facebook, facebook.com/The Rome Show 1. I got to say, before we get started, I got to give props to my man, Rocky, because last week I went to a golf outing to swing the clubs, drink a little, and schmooze with the alumni of FDU, while Rocky, from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, held down the fort of the Rome Show. Let me ask you this, Rock. How are you feeling? How was your first solo show? And, you know, if you do a little after action review, what do you got for yourself?
I felt pretty good about the second half of the show. I felt like I really settled in. You know, I would think I'm going to say that the show is a lot like my golf game, right? You show up in your mind, you have an idea of how incredible you're going to play that day. But in reality, you pretty much showed up 15 minutes before you teed off. So you went and just started swinging the club like on hole one, right? And so you're like, this is going to be great. And then you kind of throw up like a 50 spot in the front nine, but then you settle in and you shoot anywhere between, 40, 45 on the back. You feel pretty good about yourself. And you're like, I could do this. Maybe I should just practice a little bit more. So that's kind of how the show went.
Well, I'm happy to
I
hear
busted into it. Yeah, busted in, but I think I finished strong.
I do. I believe you finished strong as well. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't hear it, you can head over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, SoundCloud as well. And you can listen to the Solo Dolo Rocky edition. We have a lot on the docket tonight for the Romo Sapien, so let's get to it. And starting with the Straight Off the Rome, which comes right out of the NBA. And Rocks, I got to give props to my man LeBron James, to Anthony Davis, to the Los Angeles Lakers. Listen, they won their 17th title in their franchise's history, okay, in a year which was probably the most difficult for the franchise, one, because of the passing of Kobe Bryant, and two, because of what happened with the coronavirus and the way the NBA season ended up playing out. So I'm here to tell everybody this. And LeBron James said it in his post-game presser on the court after they accepted the championship trophy. And it was something along the lines of, put some respect on this team, put some respect on this coaching staff, put some respect on Rob Pelinka, and put some respect on me. And a lot of people, Rock, have been speculating, oh, what did he mean by this? I think it's simple. I think he just straight up was flexing, right? Like, I just won my 4th championship with my 3rd team. We just won quite possibly the biggest championship in Los Angeles Lakers history because of the magnitude of what went on this year with what I just mentioned before. And you know what? There have been a lot of former NBA players, right, in the media, in the league, right? Kyrie Irving, KD on their podcast last week that kind of haven't given LeBron James the respect. So off my Rome tonight, Rock, and I've been a hater, and I've said it multiple times on this show, but off my Rome tonight is you got to put some respect on LeBron James because I think he deserved it and he earned it with that 4th title last night.
No, I actually do. I was saying this to a couple of people at work today. I was like, you know what? I was like, I definitely lean more towards a LeBron hater than a LeBron lover, but I think that he definitely deserves this one. I think after, the year was crazy, how bad the Lakers were last year, and how good they became this year with just a couple of pieces. Like, not to mention, like, not only could he set himself up for, a lot of people to stop ridiculing him, but he gave Anthony Davis his career, like, just a whole rebirth, right? And by the way, he saved Dwight Howard's career just simply by winning and Dwight Howard being on the team, right? Like, think about it. Dwight Howard could have gone down as a pretty big villain. And now you're like, everyone's like, you know what? I'm happy for Dwight Howard,
Absolutely.
right? LeBron gave J.R. Smith another opportunity to take his shirt off in record time, which is just really exciting. And then you have someone even like Rajon Rondo, who was able to really look young. Like, I mean, I thought Rondo played great. He distributed the ball well. He was relevant. I mean, I thought he played really well. And then he gave, who was the guy on the Cleveland Cavaliers that ran around? The little guy, he ran all around. It's a little bit like the Carrasco kid on the Lakers. He always finds a couple of those guys.
Yes, no doubt. It's crazy how all of his championship teams, the players kind of resemble each other every single step of the way.
Yeah, no doubt. He had
LeBron James formula for winning a championship, no?
Yeah, no. Listen, if he didn't win, he would get. I think he deserves a lot of credit for winning in LA. I mean, first time back to the finals since 2010, which is significant. I mean, the Lakers have not seen success since Kobe, and being in that, this is Kobe's year. It only makes sense, and I think it does help. I think it helps LeBron's brand out a lot.
So the last point of this straight off the Rome I want to get to on the NBA as we close the book on this season, which I think at first when we started putting teams in bubbles in professional sports and we started thinking about how these championships would play out, right? A lot of people started talking about what's the legitimacy of these championships, right? Is this a legitimate championship? You mentioned a few weeks back when the NHL Players Association came together with the National Hockey League, they said to themselves, we need to make it so it feels as realistic to win the Stanley Cup in this year as any other possible year. I think as we see teams, Rocky, from the Tampa Bay Lightning in the NHL to now the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA, with 4 teams remaining in the MLB, as we've gone through this coronavirus type sports season, I think we've realized this might have been one of the hardest championships to win in the history of professional sports. And I think as the tale of these tapes finalize with the MLB and then what we're seeing in the NFL, which we'll get to in a little bit, I really do believe people are going to hold these championships in an almost higher regard.
Yeah, it's actually it's exciting that that's kind of what came out of it. Obviously, for the players, it was very difficult, being away. I think for the younger guys, it was a lot easier than the guys with families, for sure. But I think you're right. Like, I think the integrity of the championship was preserved, which is ultimately what both leagues wanted to do. So, and I probably, and I would put the NBA and the NHL, head and shoulders above Major League Baseball when it comes to, is this championship legitimate or not? I mean, there's no question in my mind that the NBA Finals and the NHL playoffs were not exactly what they should have been and more, or what they could have been and more. Whereas MLB, I think the MLB failed to get ahead of some of their problems. And I think a lot of their return to play is overshadowed by the fact that, they're pretty much playing under strike right now. And so, the next season and the following seasons are in jeopardy from a baseball standpoint, whereas I think both the NHL and the NBA might find themselves in a position where they could be thriving from a fanship standpoint based on their response to Corona.
How do you feel like that's going to play out with the change of schedule? I don't think it's going to make that big of a deal, but I do think it's going to be really interesting when we get into November and December, when we be hitting peak of NBA, peak of the NHL. That turn of the year calendar puts a playoff push on for everybody. Now we're talking about that turn of the calendar starting the year. I always wonder, does that affect players? And will that? I think it's going to be strange. I don't know how you feel.
Well, I think it's going to be a little bit not as. I don't think it's going to be as strange as it was watching them play with no fans. I think that right now, today, when we woke up today, everything's normal. Baseball's in the postseason in October. We're in the ALCS in the beginning of October, so they're on schedule. NFL's in week 5. Outside of a Tuesday night game tomorrow night and a couple of cancellations, you're pretty much on schedule there as well. So right now, as a fan, you kind of get a little bit of normalcy. Like golf is not going to play in the wintertime. Tennis, the French Open just happened, so you're good there. Like NASCAR's finishing on time. Like you're kind of in a layer of normalcy. So you're probably going to go with like that. I need basketball. Like I need hockey. Like they would be playing right now. And that fix that you got in August and September that you typically don't get, that's going to wear down probably right after the World Series, right as you get into Thanksgiving.
No doubt.
So you might be excited.
So here's my question, though, because there has been a lot of concern in the National Football League with the positive coronavirus tests with the Tennessee Titans. Luckily, there was no spread with the New England Patriots and Cam Newton, but you mentioned it. There's a Tuesday game on the schedule this weekend. There have been up to 7 NFL games adjusted, including the Dolphins, who they had no positive coronavirus test, but they're going to be playing now the Jets this weekend, and then they're going to go into a bye week, which has adjusted their schedule. So that's the only concern for me, Rock, is like, yeah, we've started to navigate these waters. And yeah, we're starting to get to a point now where it's like, okay, I think we can do this. But the NFL, not quietly anymore, because other sports are starting to end. It's starting to be like, okay, is there a problem here? Or was that just the Tennessee Titans? The 29 other teams have handled it, and hopefully we can get back on track here.
I just think it's quite obvious that it's impossible to prevent an outbreak if you're not playing in a bubble. That is 100% what we've learned. The NFL, the NBA, and the NHL had 0 positive tests. I mean, 0 positive tests. Both the MLB and the NFL have had positive tests. I mean, it's not. I'm not being speculative here. Like that's the way it is. So you have to expect that both the NHL and the NBA should be. If I'm in their headquarters and I'm in the league offices right now, what I'm preparing for is our COVID-19 contingency plans. What's going to happen when people on these teams start testing positives when we go back to playing in our own stadiums and we start having some fans in the stands? Because that's ultimately what we're going to start seeing.
Yeah, because really, at the end of the day, the next stage, if we're able to play sports, we're able to play sports. If we're able to get through playing sports without fans, the only next stage is having fans back in the stadium. Now we're seeing it, right? Primarily in college football. We're seeing a lot of college football teams have the opportunity to have fans in the stands. It's presented a more of a regular feel environment, which is great. National Football League teams are starting to get there. I tweeted something out at the Wide World of Rome Twitter account the other day. I laughed. It made me laugh, but it was Florida tweeting the Miami Dolphins have decided to, go to max capacity, and someone just like quote tweeted that and wrote, Florida really gives no Fs. And I just started laughing, and I retweeted that and just said #fins up. But it's kind of crazy to think like you could go to MetLife to play the Jets or the Giants with 0 fans, and now you could go to Miami and play the Dolphins and have fans in the stadium. So the only way I see it, Rock, is the next step for all people and professional sports is when are we going to get back to having fans for everybody in the stands, max capacity, and then to your point, if this still is something as we get into the winter months, what is our protocol when someone gets it and we have 50,000 people entering our stadium?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I tell you what, man, there was more than 50% capacity in Texas yesterday for the Dallas game, for the Dallas
What-
Giants game.
What's their total capacity? 80,000, something like that? right?
No, it's like 100, I think.
Oh, it's higher
gotta be
than
close to 100. Oh, yeah. AT&T Stadium, right? Is that where
Yeah.
they play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's huge, and like I would think that you're not gonna go full capacity till the spring once it gets warm again.
Yeah.
Probably.
I think
I mean,
would
I'm
agree
not.
with
I'm
you
not
with
a.
that.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
No, but I think
Yeah,
it's really
I got a PhD in being a BA. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying. And honestly, though, it's harder for the indoor sports. Listen, you're listening to the Rome Show here on our HamiltonRadio.net channel 2 and Facebook.com/the Rome Show 1. You can call in the show at 609-807-2492. We broadcast every Monday night from 7 to 8 p.m. You can catch the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're in AT&T Stadium, right? So we're in Texas, and I'm staring at the screen right now, and I'm wondering, did Rocky freeze, or is he still there? It looks like
I'm still here.
He's
you
still
started
here.
speaking a lot like. Yeah, you started speaking a lot like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like you froze for a second, and then it sped up in my ears. But while
So I
that
sounded
happened,
like
I found
Alvin?
out that you were right. Yeah, a little bit, but you were right. AT&T Stadium sitting at 80,000 capacity.
Wow. Okay. All right. That was a really good guess out of me. So let's stay in AT&T Stadium, Rock. Let's talk about the NFL Week 5. Wow. What a week. I feel like every week we say that for different reasons, though. This week felt like the week of the upset, right? For me, at least, because Fins up, right? The Dolphins defeated the 49ers. We're not there yet, though. I got 4 downs for you here. Okay. We are in what's called Rome Show 4 down territory, Rock. It's late in the game. We're driving the football. We're in the red zone, and we need a touchdown here. We're down by 4. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Here it is. Your first down. Rome Show.
First down.
4th down territory. Honestly, it's actually sad. You saw the fracture to Dak Prescott's right ankle. I know you were watching that game as a Giants fan, and you can't do anything but feel for the guy. You know, and listen, here's the deal. He turned down a long-term deal, Rocky, in the offseason. He believed he was worth more money. I think they offered him something like 31, 32, something along those lines. He believed he was worth up to 40. They didn't get the long-term deal done. He signed for 31.5 for 1 year on the franchise tag. So the question to me now is what, right? What's next for Dak Prescott, Rock? So first down territory, tackle the question.
Well, number one, crazy. We were sitting on TV and like he was in shock. So he was just holding his calf and like the screen came up and Jen's like, oh, and I was like, oh, that's just his heel. It looks like his shoe came off. And then like they showed the
was his
replay
foot.
and I was like, oh, I was like, no, that's his ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And so so first of all, dude, and yes, I feel bad for Dak. I mean, I hate the Cowboys, but like I don't hate the person. So, but I mean, that sucks. I mean, he's got to come back. So now they got to like, not only is the thing snapped in half, but he's dislocated too. So like you're looking at an Alex Smith type recovery, not to the point where he's going to have an infection and things are going to go wrong, but he's on a slippery slope where he better have a good recovery or what happens?
Right. I know. And he's a mobile quarterback. He's a guy that his legs are a key factor in the way he plays the game. And for me, Rock, when I think about injuries like that, though, I think about the mental side of things. Like, okay, so he recovers in 6 months, right? Let's say he's good for OTAs next year and he gets back on the football field, ready for mini camp, training camp next year, ready to quarterback the Cowboys, right? Well, then what happens the first time he rolls out to his left-hand side to either run for the first down or throw? He's about to get tackled. People are going to always be diving at his legs, falling at his legs on accident. How he responds to that, where he is as a player with that mental capacity, that's what I'm going to be looking for in his return. And honestly, man, if I'm Jerry Jones, show him the money. Show him the money, right? To quote a great freaking movie, shout out Rome Show Madness movie, Madness tournament bracket. Show me the money. Show him the money, Rock. I mean, listen, Do I think he's worth 40 million? No. Do I think the Dallas Cowboys should go now and just give him 40 million? No. But I do think they should open contract negotiations with him again while he's injured. Because the fact of the matter is, man, he was having a career year. He's never missed a snap in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. And despite what you want to say, right, Giants fanship out of it, your best ability is availability, especially in the NFL. And Dak Prescott had that. You know that well as a Giants fan with Eli Manning. So I think, Rock, and maybe I'm crazy, I don't know, but I show the man the money and give him a little peace of mind.
Yeah, I think with Dak, you do a very long-term deal, front load it very heavily and let him lighten it up on the back end so he doesn't crush you when he's getting old, but he could stay around as a wily backup vet for his entire career. Like that I could see something like that happening, especially in Dallas where like, you know, they don't ever leave. Like, look at what they did for Tony Romo. I mean, now the NFC is on CBS now. What? Because Tony Romo's doing CBS games? Like, why are we on the CBS? I can't stand it. Why is the NFC on CBS? I don't get it. Anyways, my point being is like you've got someone like Andy Dalton on the bench, who, by the way, might be the answer to the Cowboys going above 500, going on a run in the next 3 games and really taking over the NFC East, which, based on the way the Cowboys and the Redskins both played yesterday, is very, very possible, right? But like someone like Andy Dalton, if you could front load Dak on the way back and catch Dak for like another 10 years, now Dak is your Andy Dalton and he grew up a Dallas Cowboy, right? So like rather than having to change organizations to get that guy, maybe you just keep him around like that forever. Maybe that's the way you do it with him.
That's definitely a possibility. It's going to be a curious question moving forward. To finish up first down here, Rock, the NFC East is possibly the worst division of all time. Like I don't remember a year where it's worse, but
never in my lifetime.
Me neither. The Cowboys though did show some glimmer last night, but for me, man, it's not Andy Dalton. He's not the answer. It's their defense. Can their defense make enough stops over the course of a 60-minute game to give that offense enough chance? If they put up 24, 27 points a game, they'll be chilling. If that defense can't stop people, that's an issue.
I don't know, because what they proved to you is that even the worst offense with a little bit of creativity can score some points and gain some yards on you.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, that was all it was last night for the Giants. Just a little creativity and a couple of good runs.
And I don't want to be hot take multiplier over here. Okay, I don't want to be that guy. But hey, hot take New York Giants fans, Daniel Jones probably. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to be your answer at the quarterback position. Do I think he could be a good quarterback in the NFL? Yeah, sure. I think he could, take teams 8-8 and, have a 10 to 12 year career, start some, back up some. Sure. I don't think he's the answer. And I guess I just say that for one reason. When you see the same issues happening over and over again over the course of 24, 23 games in the NFL, at some point, stop fumbling the football. That's it. At some point, hold on to the football. You're up 17-10. You're driving, right? You have the chance to really make it a 2-score game, whether that's a field goal or a touchdown, and you fumble the football, and they return it for a touchdown. That cannot happen. Those things cannot happen.
I'm going to stick you in the pocket, and then I'm going to let some dude who's 350 pounds bury you from the back while your football, he's just holding it over here. Although Tony Romo did say he's running. Tony Romo actually said on the broadcast, and I actually gave him a lot of credit for it because he's like, listen, I used to fumble a lot early in my career. He goes, you have to learn how to run with the football while you're going to throw it.
That's my point.
And so I get it. Like, I don't know if Daniel, I get the offensive line is bad. What I want to know, my favorite part about Daniel Jones yesterday.
Talk to me.
Was I actually thought he controlled his line of scrimmage well in the running game. Like, I thought he set up Devonta Freeman to have he set up a lot of good runs. He had a lot of good checkdowns at the line. But then he's just got this series when you're like, bro, just throw it away.
Yes.
Just
yes.
Like you're only 9 for 17 anyway. Your QB rating sucks. Like, you've got fumbles galore. Who cares? Like, stop trying to just throw it away.
Yeah.
So I do question his decision making. I don't know if he's the answer. Like if you're sitting at Trevor Lawrence, you're taking him because the picks aren't worth it. Like just go get him.
Who out of the two New York teams wins a game first?
I still think the Giants win first. The Giants should have won last night. They did everything. You know what? They did everything right last night except one drive.
2 weeks in a row. But
And
here's
you know
the deal.
what? Like 2 touchdowns called back.
But that's my thing. That's what bad football teams do. That's what bad football teams
That's
do.
right. Yeah, number 75. Just get in your stance, bro.
And 2 drives in the last 2 weeks. You can think about Daniel Jones negatively affecting this football team with a bad decision.
Dude, 3 and
doesn't allow
out.
you to
3
win.
and out. 3 and out. You're right. You're not wrong.
All right, moving on to
You're not-
second down here in 4 down territory. Only a gain of 2 yards on the play. So we're sitting here at 2nd and 8, Rock. Ball on the 50.
Okay.
I was going to say 52, but that's not even a yard line.
No,
All right.
it is in Canadian.
Oh, is it really? Okay. All right, that's good. That's
on
good.
110 or 120 yards, right?
Second down. Alex Smith plays for the first time since 2018. He had an unreal gruesome leg injury. You mentioned it before, Rock. Honestly, I can't think of a cooler story right now.
No, it's a great story. It's really cool. His family was in attendance for him to play, and I listen. I think it's a great story, and I think the story's kind of written itself. And you know, call me crazy, and maybe I'm just not sentimental, but I think the bigger story there is the fact that Alex Smith is starting in Washington. When you have Dwayne Haskins on the bench, and you've already blown by your number 2.
Is it funny that I just keep thinking about now, like Alex Smith was a forgotten guy after being a first round draft pick. I think if I remember correctly, he was like a number 1 overall pick. At least he was a top 5 pick for the San Francisco 49ers back in the day. And for like the first 5 years of his career, he was terrible. So if I think about it, and I'm sitting here a year and a half into Daniel Jones's career, I'm like, he's not your answer, right? I mean, Alex Smith, case in point. I mean, the fact that he today is still a name in the league that we know based off the first 5 years of his career in the NFL, that's pretty remarkable. And kudos to Alex Smith. And honestly, man, like they mentioned him being active yesterday and how it could be a possibility. The Washington football team's terrible, which made it a real possibility. I really, really hope that something good happens for Alex Smith. He super deserves it. Third down.
Yeah. So Alex Smith was a first overall pick. You were right. And,
Yeah, 2 for 2, baby.
right. Isn't it crazy? Right. Alex Smith drafted first overall, plays second fiddle to what? Colin Kaepernick? Or who came after Alex Smith? It had to be Kaepernick, right?
It was Colin
then he
Kaepernick.
goes-
They benched
goes to-
Alex Smith for Kaepernick the Super Bowl year.
So then he goes to Kansas City, and then he doesn't make it there. And then they take, I guess they took Mahomes. Was that the same year they took Mahomes? He went to Washington, and that's when he got hurt.
Yeah,
Right? Because it's 3 years ago.
yeah. 100%.
Right.
You are
Wow. The
correct.
2 guys behind him both went to Super Bowls. One won one. Right. It's just it's an interesting career for this guy.
It's a very interesting career. It's like the Buck Showalter career of starting quarterback. Go places that are on the precipice of going to or winning championships, and then not being the guy that takes them to those.
It's funny 'cause-
championships.
It's I think the irony here too is you could say Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins are pretty much the same quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, Kirk Cousins has a way better arm than Alex Smith
Okay, but
in terms of like overall
from a
winning
service
and stuff.
standpoint, they've had similar.
Similar careers. Yes, I get what you're saying. Yes,
They're similar.
yes.
Alex Smith are all right. Kirk Cousins gets drafted in the 6th round behind RG3 in
Yeah,
the same
well,
draft. And now
did you
look at
see-
his and now look at his career. He plays it out. And now he looks like that. Now he's getting paid like Matthew Stafford.
Did you see that stat last night on Monday Night Football of the draft picks from the 2012 draft, and Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins, the 2 starters on Sunday Night Football last night. The 2 starters were the last pick was Kirk Cousins out of those quarterbacks, and the second to last pick was Russell Wilson, and those are the only 2 still in the league right now. Like that's how honestly how off the draft is. But you're right. It is kind of
amazing.
comparable. Yeah, it's kind of
It's
crazy.
And now you look at now you look at your boy from Buffalo and everyone from 3 years ago, and you're
Yeah.
like,
But the thing is, at least with Josh Allen, he was drafted 10 overall. I mean, like, or 8 overall. It's not like he was like it's not like he was a fifth
no,
round draft
Allen's
pick.
more like Mahomes. Allen's more like Mahomes right now.
Yeah, like, and Mahomes is even worse. Think about it, like 19 teams passed on him, and then Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs moved into the first round.
No. Mahomes was 10th overall.
Was he really?
I'm gonna double check right now.
I thought he was way higher than that. I don't know.
Buffalo Bills. Yo, wait! The Buffalo Bills traded the 10th overall pick to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs took him in the 10th overall pick in 2018.
Wow, and then the Bills end up getting Josh Allen the next year.
And they're the two best. They're the up and coming. Although Baker's playing well right now.
Wow. Well, that's the thing about it, though. The Chiefs traded up, and people were like, "Why are they trading up to draft this guy?" And
That's
now
right.
look at Andy Reid. Now look at him. He might have bought 10 more years on his career.
Yeah. I
All
know.
right. Third down. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
We moved the ball well on second down. We're on 3rd and 3. I need a play out of you. All right.
Big time.
This is my favorite one. Jimmy Garoppolo gets benched by the San Francisco 49ers because the Miami Dolphins put a smacking on Chris Rinaldi's San Francisco 49ers. It was fantastic. Okay. Watching that game was pure joy. It was the culmination of a 2.5-year rebuild for the Miami Dolphins, where you're like, when are they going to beat a team that has some type of pizzazz? Is it the 49ers that went to the Super Bowl last year? No, but it's still a good freaking football team. And they flew across the country and shellacked, put 40 on the 49ers. And in the third quarter, Rock, Kyle Shanahan pulled Jimmy Garoppolo for CJ Beathard, and that was the story. Your opinions, sir?
You're gonna hate me. I don't think it's that big of a story. I think Jimmy G's coming off an injury, and they just didn't need him to play in the second half because they knew they were getting smoked. So they just took him out to protect him. He wasn't ready.
At first,
I'd be pissed too if I got taken out. But if I'm Kyle Shanahan, why am I going to keep him in this? There's no chance we're coming back. The team looks like crap today.
Yeah, that's true though. That's a good point. That's like, you were a coach for a long time, Rock, and you're pretty much still coaching in your job now. How many times in your career, if you just accepted a bad one, you're like, you know what, we're not winning today. It's just not our day today.
The hardest thing about being a coach is that you see it before everyone else. You're like, man, how am I going to will these guys to try and win when I know they don't have it?
I know it's not there today.
They suck today. I can't play. I'm not.
That is so
well, if I could play, I'd still be doing it. That's why I'm on the sidelines.
I see the people tuning in on the Facebook section. Head to facebook.com/The Show 1 to tune in on the show in the comments section. I love it. Rock, I see you. Is that you tuning in? No, you wrote in. Alex Smith was the first pick by the Niners in the 2005 draft. Wow. 15-year career. Good for him. All right. You ready for 4th down? Are you here? He's here. Is he ready for 4th down? I don't know. 4th and 1 here. Ball on the 3.
I said, let's do it.
I know. I heard
let's do it. You didn't.
I heard you the 3rd time, I think. Either way, technology. This is
There's a delay. There's a delay.
4th down, Rock. Chiefs lose their first game to the Las Vegas Raiders. Dude, the Raiders put up 40 on the Chiefs, and they really played well. Yeah. Was it 40-32? Sure. Did the Chiefs put up a lot of points? Yeah. But at the end of the day, they handed them their first loss of the season. That Raiders team looked really good, and the Chiefs looked a little vulnerable for once.
Yeah, I know. I think the Raiders are for real. I think the Gruden's Raiders are they might be for real, man. They're playing good football.
Yeah, the Fighting Grudens.
I think the Fighting Grudens, they took down the Saints in their home opener, and they've really kind of rolled since. I mean, they were coming. You got to think that they're a contender for a playoff spot.
I'm starting to think that way. I need to see more from the defense. Yes, you're going against the best offense in the league. I get that. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. I get all of it, but I do think, throughout the first 5 weeks of this season, their defense has shown to be a little shaky. Give me till week 8, Rock, and then maybe I'll say that the Las Vegas Raiders are for real.
I mean, they could easily. The problem is the AFC North is everyone's got 4 wins, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough for them to get in. But I mean, they're right in it right now, and they're not playing. They've beat good teams. That's the thing. It's not like last year when the Cowboys like beat everyone that sucked and lost to everyone that was good. Like I feel like the Raiders are beating good teams.
You're right. That's the thing. It's like, but here's my thing though. There are the two losses on their schedule, I believe, are losses that they're games that we believe they should have won. So those are the things I look at. And I say to myself, okay, yes, they're beating the Saints. Yes, they're beating the Chiefs. Those are great teams. And that's going to prove that they're a good ball club. And Steve Langen writes in on the show, Chargers should have beaten them in week 2. That was Herbert's first start. So that's why I need a little bit more if I think the Raiders are for real. Excuses is right. That's 4th down. That was 4th down territory here on the Rome Show Rock. We are up against a break here, right? Because we got to pay the bills here on HamiltonRadio.net channel 2. But I got to say this. Yo, Sunday, October 11th, you know what that was? That was Fitz magic, baby.
Wow. He knew Tua was coming in if he didn't show up to play.
Yes, 100%. Like, I'm laughing too because we had that conversation last night when I called in.
Yeah, well, I know, and I know. I actually thought the same thing when I saw the score. I was like, no way.
Fantastic. This is the Rome Show here on HamiltonRadio.net channel 2 and Facebook.com/the Rome Show 1. I'm Andrew Romanello. That's Rock Romanello. We take you all the way up until the 8 o'clock hour. We will be right back after this quick break and a word from our sponsors.
Rocky Romanella is the founder and CEO of 360 Management Services LLC and author of the book Tighten the Lug Nuts. With over 40 years of boots on the ground leadership experience, Rocky creates excitement through his energy, passion, and knowledge in every podcast. During his 36 years at UPS, he led one of the largest rebranding initiatives in franchising history, the UPS Store, revolutionizing the $9 billion retail shipping and business services market. He also led the integration of more than 20 acquisitions that became UPS Supply Chain Solutions and let us improve financial performance, capabilities, and global footprint. Post-UPS, he served as CEO and director for Unitech Global Services, a telecommunications company, and serves as an independent board member and advisor. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the discussion.
All right, welcome back in here to the Rome Show on HamiltonRadio.net channel 2, Facebook.com/the Rome Show 1. You can tune in on the show. You can call in 609-807-2492. It's Hoodie Romo. It's Rocky Romo, and we're taking you all the way up until 8 o'clock. I got to say this. I was so vibing the NBA Finals last night, and the way the Lakers were feeling after their victory that I said to myself, you know what? As much as I was upset that Carmelo Anthony didn't work out in OKC, is this how much I loved that Hoodie Mello was a thing. And it was a thing for a minute, like hashtag Hoodie Mello. He was warming up in hoodies. He had cut off hoodies on, t-shirt hoodies. So I felt like being Hoodie Romo on the air tonight and kicking it in the light blue, navy blue, KD zip up. And for some reason, Rock, it just gave me the feeling that we need this article of clothing with what? Right here on the chest. Oh, excuse me. Right here on the chest.
The Rome Show logo.
Right? So any of our clothing dealer human beings out there, get this fire zip up right here with the Rome Show logo. Hit your boys up at Wide World of Rome on Twitter and the Gram. Okay. So Monday Night Football tonight, Rock. Okay. That's exciting. They're at the Superdome. They're in New Orleans. Tune in on ESPN. Get your football on. We'll dive into a little bit more later on. Teaser alert. Rocky and I at the end of the show today are going to give you a little what we call what you watching. And that's going to be a game pick from Rocky and I that we believe the fans just need to put their eyes on over the next 6 days until we are back on the air. I would be remiss, though, if we got off the Rome Show tonight on October 12th and we did not talk about the MLB postseason. The Tampa Bay Rays just took a 2-0 series lead against the Houston Astros. And can I say, complete aside here, Rock. I love midday postseason baseball. I need more of it. I love it. It's like 3:00, and I'm like, word. The NLCS is on, right? The ALCS. I don't know which one it is. And then at 8:00, I got another one. I got the Dodgers starting off against the Braves, and that's game one of the NLCS. So I love it, and I need more of it. But what I saw in it was that the Tampa Bay Rays are a team that's playing some good baseball. They defeated the New York Yankees, as we know, Rock, in game 5. Aroldis Chapman, home runs late in the game, seemed to be the bugaboo in the playoffs.
So there's so much to respond to. Like midday baseball, number one. Yeah, it's really cool. Although sometimes I forget there's a game on.
Oh yeah.
So there's that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm like looking. It's like it's like 3:45. I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, dude, the Rays are up 2-0. Nice. Like, I should tune in. So that part's tough. I listen. If I'm a Yankees fan, I am just heartbroken. Right? Like, if I'm a Yankees fan, am I not just heartbroken? They don't even know what to do with themselves. I was talking to Yankee fans today at work. Forget about it. What? It's all Chapman's fault. It's this. Oh, you want to live and die by the home run? Now we're talking about baseballs being juiced. Like, literally, they have no. Is it Aaron Judge's fault? Is it Aaron Boone's fault? Which Aaron is it? I don't even know. Like, they literally, it's Whitey Ford died. Like, maybe it was him. Like, the Yankees fans are so lost right now. They have no idea what to do, and ultimately I think it's going to be proven that they probably just got beat by a better baseball team.
100%. And I think what the Tampa Bay Rays show is when you play baseball in the baseballiest of forms, you pitch well, you play good defense, you get timely hitting, you run bases well. That's all you need. That's the recipe for success. And there has been a lot of talk, Rock, in this postseason about how homers are a key statistic, and I do believe they are. There is stats.
I mean, they won the game.
Right.
They won game 5 on home runs.
Right. And there are stats that show that the teams that hit the most homers over the course of the postseason end up doing way better than the teams that don't. But the beautiful thing about the Rays is it's a battle at bat, right? It's the 10th pitch of the AB, then he hits the homer, right? It's the fact that they can manufacture runs, they can steal bases when they need to, which then leads to those positive plays. And I'll tell you what the Houston Astros have shown me, Rock? Their defense is not locked in. In game 1 of the ALCS, an error by Correa led to an RBI single that won the game for the Rays 2-1. And then in game 2, right, the midday matinee, it was Altuve. Altuve with 2 outs didn't make a play, and then a 3-run homer was hit, and ultimately the Rays lose that game by more than 3 runs.
It's tough to play the field when they don't tell you that the ball's coming to hit right at you. So you have to be ready.
Yeah, but they had the Apple Watches on, and it was like, all right, here it comes. They could feel the heat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
No doubt. And I think they're going to make I really do believe. It's easy. The Rays are up 2-0, but I do believe that they're going to be in the World Series.
Nah, it's been pretty evident that the teams, I mean, even the divisional series, like the teams that won games 1 and games 2, like really just dominated the rest of the series. I don't think there was one series, I think all playoffs, where if you didn't win the first game, you came back and won.
Yes, 100%. Right? And I believe, if I remember correctly, my World Series pick at the beginning of this playoff pick segment was the Tampa Bay Rays versus the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I think you might be right. I think I got burned on the Oakland Athletics. I believe too much in Billy Beane.
You were way too much on the Moneyball trade, man.
Well, I was hoping it wouldn't it be a great story for the A's to knock off the Houston Astros? But you know what, the Rays can do it. That's fine.
Well, you know why I thought the A's were going to do it, though, just to quickly dive into that, is because the A's historically are a regular season team, right? They play the 162-game regular season. They win like 91 games.
It's great logic.
Right? So for me, I'm like, it's still the regular season. It's game 70. Like, this is going to be why they'll be able to win in this playoff format. And you know what? Let's give them credit. They did break a kind of a curse for them. They did win a series. Like, they moved on, which is something they haven't done in gosh knows how long. But I do think maybe it was a little overzealous to go with them in the World Series.
100%. 100%. I went pure heart on that one, 0 head. Although it is proving true that like I just can't pick games. Like with any sort of success. So
And before we dive
guess-
into the, go ahead.
no. I was going to compare myself to Mike Greenberg not being able to pick a game. So
Well, before we get into this Dodgers and Braves series, okay. I saw a story getting on the way into my apartment studio today, and it was that the White Sox parted with Edgar Renteria, which was interesting to me because they made the playoffs this year, and that they were targeting Tony La Russa as their potential manager. Now, there's some history here, Rock. In 1983, Tony La Russa got his managerial start with the Chicago White Sox, was let go by the Chicago White Sox, and then obviously we did what he did in St. Louis. He's 74 years old. I don't know if that was the right move for the Chicago White Sox.
I don't know either. That guy's Renteria had been there for 40 years, and this is the
Yeah.
first year he made the playoffs.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
and they
cool.
arrived early.
Hey, listen, the Texans firing Bill O'Brien makes sense. The Atlanta Falcons firing that dude today makes sense. The White Sox parting ways with Renteria doesn't make sense
Doesn't
to
make
me.
sense. No.
Unless they purely believe he was a setup guy and that they have the tools to win and they need someone who's been there before.
And can I just say this, by the way, Romo Sapiens, go listen to the October 5th show. Somewhere around minute 14, okay? Rocky gives the greatest assessment on the recipe of how to get fired from a professional sports team. And I got to tell you, Rock, Bill O'Brien was your primary example, A. But Dan Quinn, who got fired by the Atlanta Falcons, their first 0-5 start since 1993, right? He was, he's kind of example 1B on how to get fired by a pro sports team as well.
No. Last Monday, he called up Bill O'Brien and was like, hey, listen, I think I got your recipe figured out. I think I got to go one more loss, though.
Yeah. 0-5 will
brutal.
really put the icing on the cake for me. I mean, if you think
By
about
the-
it, if you keep losing that many games leading, you're not going to hold your job for long.
No, yeah. And by the way, Tony La Russa, and I like Tony La Russa. Great, listen, guy's good. Great manager, loved him, still like him, right? Guy was born in 1944.
Yeah,
Right? You're telling
74.
me that there's not one other dude in Major League Baseball that can come be the manager for the Chicago White Sox. You got to go back to someone. Come on, you got to be kidding me. This is why people are coach, you can't make it. You can't
Yes.
make it. I mean,
That's exactly why.
there's no one else. You fired a guy who just got you to the playoffs. Go back to 1944. It's craziness.
I agree. And people and we come from the ilk of, and obviously I'm a coach, you're a coach. We come from the belief that the manager matters, the coach matters. So when you're making a decision, yeah, it is important. And I agree with you. Let's be serious here. You got guys like Sean McVay at 40 years old, the youngest coach
Great
in
example.
the NFL, getting
Great
a
example.
chance. And you're telling me that we can't find anybody in the game of baseball that's under the age of 74 to manage the Chicago White Sox? Let's be serious here. There are 32 ball clubs in Major League Baseball, and there are 50 minor league organizations. I think we can find somebody that's good enough.
Someone that didn't play in the black and white TV era.
Hey, Chicago White Sox, 770-337-2109. That's the cell phone number. And then andrew.romanella@gmail.com. If by any chance you're looking for people to interview, I'll send my resume in as soon as possible. Let's get to this Dodgers and Braves series, okay? Because I find this one super interesting for multitudes of reasons. The first game of the series starts in about 18 minutes, okay? And what you would traditionally think is a Clayton Kershaw versus whoever the hell else is on the mound for Atlanta Braves is not the case. The way Dave Roberts and the Dodgers have been doing the playoffs, Rocky, is they haven't been throwing Kershaw in game one. They've been throwing Max Fried. So tonight, we're going to see Max Fried against Will. Excuse me, they've been throwing Buehler. The Braves are throwing Max Fried. They're going to throw Buehler. The Braves are going to throw Max Fried. And you're going to see Clayton Kershaw in game two. It worked out really well in the NLDS. I'm curious to see against this potent Atlanta Braves offense, who, oh, by the way, doesn't give up a lot of runs either. They've had 6 shutouts in the postseason. There's something crazy like that. I'm curious to see if the Dodgers can get themselves back to a third straight World Series.
You know, the interesting part about Kershaw going second is that you set him up for a game 6 or a game 7.
Right.
And so is that the guy you want in that spot is probably more what I'm thinking about and less about games 1 or games 2. Although, I
Well, you
mean,
got-
I guess you got to believe you're going to sweep, but I mean, if
You
you're
got-
not thinking,
It's a 5-game series. You got to remember that.
why aren't we playing 7 games? It's the NLCS.
And we talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Dude, no chance. This is 5-game series?
Yeah, I believe so.
No.
I'm like pretty positive because it's back to back to back to back to back days. I think only the World Series is 7 games.
No, I think that the championship series is 7 games. How
Are
do you
you
find
sure?
out? No,
I mean,
I need to find out.
Yeah,
Is the
we'll
NLCS.
make this easy. I'm like 100. Like, no, all right. I wouldn't put 100 on it because you're so adamant that I'm wrong.
No,
So
because
I'd
I
say
was
I'm
surprised.
92.7% positive that it's
'Cause
5-game series.
I was surprised that the DS was 5 because the DS is typically 7 too.
Well, yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
not.
No, you're usually wild card 1 game and then 7-game series, 7-game series, 7-game series.
No. The DS is usually 5. Because you remember the Mets won in 5 versus the Dodgers when we went to the World Series.
You are correct. That is a great point. All right, so let's
So,
see. I got the
that's
schedule up
5.
right here.
So it's 7.
I got the schedule up right here. Let's see. Thursday. Game 4, game 5. No, dude. Oh, yeah, game 6 if necessary. It is 7.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so Kershaw setting up
So
to
it was
look.
3-5-7-7. That's the way
So
they
listen, you want to be manager of the White Sox? Like, tell me, like, if you're going into the NLCS, like, do you need to think about who's throwing in games 5 through 7 when you start the series?
I am
Like-
a different playoff manager. Okay. Here's my thing. I can't worry about game 2 until I get to game 2. I have to set it up, right? But I can't worry about what the scenarios could be when I have no idea how the first 4 might play out. Like I could go into it worrying about games 5 and 6. We could get swept in 4 or we could sweep in 4. So for me, my best arm is going game 1. That's fact. It just hands down, bottom line. I'm trying to get the first win of the series. My best arm's on the hill. And that in a situation like this, when you're going back to back to back to back to back, you're looking at, to your point, a game 6 where your number 1's going to throw again. Hey, you know what? If I have to be in a game 6, either to clinch a series or to go to a game 7, who the hell else do I want on the mound? My number 1, right? Either way, it plays out for you. And I get it. Everyone say, well, what if you get to game 7? Well, shit, if I'm down 3-2, I'm praying I get to game 7. So if it's Kershaw on the hill, I'm okay with that. I would personally, I'm putting him on the hill first. But here's the deal also, Rock. A lot of other people believe Walker Buehler could be a 1 in his own right. So really, are you just dealing with 2 number 1s and it's just you're playing with funny money?
No, I think you got to put your eggs where you believe you're most likely to be put. Like in game 5 or game 6, you are either winning or you are saving your season. So you need your number 1 that day.
Right.
Right. You need a number 1 that day. So if he's not ready to go, then you outthought yourself by throwing him 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah. And
I think that's
series,
that's right. You have to put him in a position to win 2 games for you.
yes.
Right. And then, yeah. So I think that's probably definitely the way to do it.
I got the Dodgers in 6. That's my belief. I do think they're going to go back again. I'm not going to predict against them when I predicted them to win the World Series, to make it to the World Series from the get-go. But what am I surprised if the series goes 7? No. Am I surprised if the Braves win? No, that not either.
Nah, I mean, this is I personally like this series as much as I like the Yankees Rays in the last round. I don't like Rays Astros as much. Like I really like Braves Dodgers. And I wish there was no DH. I think I'm telling. I think that I think the NLCS is truly where you can probably get rid of some analytics right? Like you're gonna get rid of a little bit of analytics because you don't have a DH.
Right. Well, that's a great point. It's a great point. It changes
Especially with the new rules where you can't just face one batter.
Right. 100%.
So like
100%.
I would like to see that, but it's probably never coming back. The DH is there, here to stay. We're going back. We're never going to see bunts. We're never going to see sacrifice bunts from pitchers ever again.
And for some reason, the one thing that will never change is the fact that if you flip a bat, people want to throw at you, which makes absolutely no sense to me. None whatsoever.
The bat flip. Thank you, Jose Bautista, for putting it on the map.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, here's the deal. Okay. New segment based off of old ideas and old concepts. It's called What You Watching. It's where Rocky and I can come up here and tell you what you need to put your eyes on this week in the sporting world. Rocky, it is up to you. Do you want to enlighten the Romo sapiens on where their eyes need to be, or would you like me to start this segment?
No, why don't you take us home? You're the closer.
All right.
I'll be your setup. I'll be your setup man today.
Okay, sounds good to me. Go ahead.
I'll take the 8th inning, and I'm gonna take the Tuesday night NFL matchup between the two unbeaten Buffalo Bills and Tennessee Titans. And I know I probably should be saying, game 2, Dodgers, Braves, and I could say that, but I just think that two such good stories out of Tennessee and Buffalo right now. Like, can Buffalo be the team that takes over the AFC East? And in what incredible fashion? Full-scale rebuild, very successful. They do a great job in free agency over the summer with Stephon Diggs, right? They've got good secondary receivers. They got a great running game and a young quarterback who is looking to be like the best draft pick out of a draft class that he was 100% overshadowed, right? And then on the other side, you've got a Tennessee Titans team that literally captured the heart of pretty much every NFL fan last spring or last winter when they made their run through the playoffs after picking up Ryan Tannehill and watching Derrick Henry ride them all the way to the playoffs. I mean, let's be serious. And the fact that they're still doing it is even more exciting, not to mention that for whatever reason, popular culture in America is saying that Nashville, Tennessee is probably the coolest city on earth. So everyone's a Tennessee Titan fan right now. I love that they're both unbeaten. I love that there's a conspiracy theory that the NFL planted COVID into the hearts and minds of the world so that they can have football every night of the week. So I'm excited to see some NFL on Tuesday.
Honestly, I heard that on the radio today too. Like, the one crazy thing that might come out of 2020 is the fact that we might get the NFL on more than just 3 days a week.
Every day, NFL. Crazy.
I could see it. All right, I like it. What you watching? Bills versus Titans. Excuse me. Tuesday night football. Okay, Rock, I am watching game 2 of the NLCS. You might say to yourself, why, Andrew? Because game 1 hasn't even been played yet. Well, because when you go to sleep tonight, game 1 will be over, and you're going to wake up tomorrow, and you're going to be fired up for game 2, because what Rocky and I just talked about, it's like the teaser of the century. Clayton Kershaw toes the rubber for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Rock, here's some Romolytics for you on Clayton Kershaw's career. Do you know that Clayton Kershaw has 27 career postseason starts? And in the 2020 postseason, he has thrown 14 innings. He has 19 Ks, 1 walk, and a 2-0 record with an ERA of 1.93. But that's not the story of the tape.
Kershaw. Let's go.
That's not the story of the tape, though, Rock, because on the other side of the ball, towing the rubber for the Atlanta Bravos, is Ian Anderson. He's a rookie. He only started 6 games in the regular season, but you know what he's done in the postseason? He's 2-0 with a 0.00 ERA in 13.1 innings. He's got 17 Ks and 3 balls. What you watching on Tuesday while you're watching Rocky's NFL game? You better be flipping to the NLCS game too.
0.0. Pretty good rate. Pretty good number.
Kind of
pretty good number. I hope Kershaw overcomes all of his demons this year. That guy deserves it.
I agree 1,000%. Hey, man, this has been a fun show. A lot of sports, a lot of laughter. I have to say, if there was a way to navigate the waters of being virtual for the first time together, I think we did a pretty good job.
I think we did do it.
If you enjoyed this episode and you want to share it with a friend, head over to the Rome Show Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can head over to the wideworldofrome.com to get your podcast there, or check out the apparel store. Just click shop at the Wide World of Rome and you can get your apparel. We will be back October 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. here on HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2, and Facebook.com/The Rome Show 1. Rocky, you have anything else for the Romo Sapiens?
R.I.P. Joe Morgan. Grew up watching him on Baseball Tonight and ESPN. Fantastic second baseman for the Cincinnati Reds. Love that guy. But that's it.
And shout out Dak Prescott. Get better soon. Prayers to you and that right ankle. Thank you for listening to the Rome Show here on Monday night. We appreciate you. We will talk to you next week. See ya.
Rocky Romanella is the founder and CEO of 360 Management Services, LLC, and author of the book, Tighten the Lug Nuts. With over 40 years of boots-on-the-ground leadership experience, Rocky creates excitement through his energy, passion, and knowledge in every podcast. During his 36 years at UPS, he led one of the largest rebranding initiatives in franchising history, the UPS Store, revolutionizing the $9 billion retail shipping and business services market. He also led the integration of more than 20 acquisitions that became UPS Supply Chain Solutions and let us improve financial performance, capabilities, and global footprint. Post-UPS, he served as CEO and director for Unitech Global Services, a telecommunications company, and serves as an independent board member and advisor. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the discussion.
Do this look like work to you? Nah, looking at the lights like it's all of this for me. Everyone tonight is here, all of this for me. Hands in the air, yeah.